Hi, this is Kara from KB Crochet. This tutorial will show you how to crochet in the round starting with a series of chains. There's another way to crochet in the round using a technique called the magic ring, the magic loop, or the magic circle. I've seen it called all three. That will be the subject of my next tutorial. For purposes of this tutorial, you will need to be familiar with how to chain, how to slip stitch, and how to double crochet. If you're not familiar with any of those techniques or stitches, please go back and take a look at some of my earlier crochet lesson tutorials. Let's go ahead and start with a series of chains. For this tutorial, I'm going to start with 6 chains. Once you've chained 6, you're going to take your hook, and you're going to bend your series of chains over and insert your hook through that first chain, the beginning chain. You'll then take your yarn over, and pull up a loop through both the first and last chains. You now have a small loop made out of your chains. After that, we're going to do double crochet. So you're going to chain 2. 1 and 2. Now to crochet in the round, you're going to yarn over, and instead of inserting into a particular stitch, you're going to insert into the center of that loop. So you'll insert your hook into the loop front to back like you would with a stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. You're then going to repeat that yarn over and insert into your loop. We've got that loop of chains there. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you may notice that as I'm inserting into my loop, I'm also putting my tail over top of that so that I'm crocheting over top of my tail as well. That's an optional technique you can do. It's not required, but when you're done, then your tail is already tucked under at least as many stitches as you're doing in the round. So again, to work a double crochet into that ring, you're going to yarn over, insert through your big loop, pull up a loop, and you just continue working your double crochet. Now, sometimes for certain patterns, like specifically you'll have the granny square pattern, which will have you do a series of stitches, and then it'll have you chain and work more stitches. To do that, you simply work the number of stitches required by the pattern. For a granny square, it's going to be 3, and then you'll chain as many times as it tells you to. So for purposes of this tutorial, we'll do 2. Chain 2, and then the next place you'll work will be back in that loop unless the directions specify otherwise. So you've done your chains, and then you go back and work another double crochet. This will give you a space which, depending on what shape you're crocheting, if you're doing a granny square, that's going to be your corner, your first corner. But again, it depends on your pattern. Now, this is just the basic way to crochet in the round. Most hat patterns will have you make a smaller loop than this, but I wanted to do a bigger one so that you could see, for purposes of the video, I wanted you to be able to see that loop very clearly. Now, the reason why a lot of people go with the magic ring or the magic loop is because when you're done, you can pull that loop tight in the center and you don't have any sort of gap there. So it's ideal for things like hats or other patterns where you don't want a circle there. If you're okay, if you're making a motif and you're fine with that circle there, then crocheting into chains is not a problem. The other way to reduce that is to just do fewer chains and make a smaller loop. And my next tutorial will show how to do the magic ring, magic loop, or whatever you see it called. It's the same thing. It just goes by different names sometimes. So if you're interested in learning how to crochet in the round that way, check out my next video. I will also be posting some basic beanie patterns for new crocheters to practice crocheting in the round with. You will use this technique whenever you're making a hat from top down, or if you're making granny squares or other motifs that start in the center and work out. If you're interested in taking a look at some of my other patterns, I do have videos posted to some of my patterns on my YouTube channel. I also have written patterns posted on my blog, kbcrochet@wordpress.com. Thank you for watching and happy crocheting!